Hello, Happy, my old friend. I'm glad you've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy. Thank you, Happy.
Hello, my Earthling friends. It's my turn to say welcome to a Captain's Log, your source for everything in the always expanding universe of Star Trek. My name is Rogg, while the ambassador to the fans and Lili beam in to start the show. Check out more information on me, my dad, and the old ones from my home planet XO3.
Well, Raj, thank you for introducing us this week. You did a great job.
Yes, you did, Raj. You always add something special to our episodes, and you're always showing us skills that we never even knew that you had.
And I hope that my next skill will be speaking fluent Klingon in time for the next Star Trek fan convention.
Well, that would be an amazing achievement, Raj. Some estimates have the number of fluent Klingon speakers at about 12, I believe. And most estimates are even in the low dozens. Even Mark Okrand, who invented the Klingon language, and of course was our guest here on A Captain's Log back in season 1,
So cool.
says he isn't even fluent in the language himself.
Yeah, no, I can tell you from experience that it's a very difficult language to master. But I do speak some Klingon, and according to the Guinness Book of World Records, Klingon is the most famous fictional language in the world.
Really?
And the webpage top10s.com with a Z cites Klingon as the most popular constructed language in the world, though Esperanto has more speakers.
Our producer and captain's voice back in Indiana, Lex Zorn, recently discovered a mention of Klingon in the TV sitcom Young Sheldon. In season 2 of the series, the title character's sister says that her brother speaks only one language. He corrects her, saying that he's learning Klingon, and to prove it, he exclaims the word "Majka," meaning well done.
It's a great show. I've watched Young Sheldon a few times on CBS. You know, Lili, you're an excellent Klingon speaker, by the way.
Well, thank you.
What kind of music do Klingons like? What do you think? Well, actually, I pose this question to you, viewers. What kind of music do Klingons like? Well, according to guitarist Ward Young, Klingons are very macho, militaristic, and metal is definitely their music. Young is a member of the Portland, Oregon heavy metal band Stovokor, whose members dress as Klingons and whose lyrics are in Klingon language. The name Stovokor comes from the afterlife of the Klingon species, which we've heard referenced in many times in Star Trek. The group performs in the Portland, Oregon area, and you can learn more about them at stovokor.bandcamp.com.
With lyrics in Klingon, I have a feeling that they don't do a lot of love songs. I'm sure the band Stovokor is watching us on their cable TV affiliate Open Signal Comcast Xfinity Channel 22 now.
That's right, yeah. It's our affiliate up in Portland, Oregon.
Love songs don't talk about that yucky stuff.
Sorry, Raj. Sometimes we forget how young at heart you are, but how old and out of touch you are.
When is Lieutenant Commander Dimitri Valtane coming out?
Well, Raj, actor Jeremy Roberts, who played that role, will join us in just a few minutes. But first, we have a few other items that we think all the Trekkies out there will be interested to hear. There's a new Star Trek Strange New Worlds teaser trailer out there with Pike on horseback, a classic flip-open communicator, and lots of visuals to anticipate for the May 5th release.
That's so cool. And you have the classic flip-open communicator. You brought it last season.
I do, yeah.
I can't wait for the May 5th release on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, as our fans probably can't wait as well. Now, the 1997 theatrically released documentary Trekkies will celebrate its 25th anniversary with its first ever Blu-ray release. The film studies the zealous fan base that the Star Trek universe had already built by that time, and not only profiles several Trekkies like us, but also includes and interviews with James Doohan, who played Scotty, DeForest Kelley as McCoy, Walter Koenig as Chekhov, Kate Mulgrew, Nichelle Nichols, Leonard Nimoy, Brent Spiner, and don't forget George Takei Sulu.
Woo!
Now, Trekkies is directed by Roger Nygaard and narrated by Denise Crosby, who played Tasha Yar. It's scheduled for release on May 24th and is available for pre-order.
Much congratulations to Mike and Denise Okuda. On March 5th, the husband-wife graphic design team were given a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Scenic, Title, and Graphic Artist Council of the Art Directors Guild. Mike and Denise worked together heavily on the series Deep Space Nine and Voyager, while Mike also worked on dozens of episodes of The Next Generation and Enterprise, plus Star Trek V and Star Trek VI.
Michael was also involved in Star Trek 4.
Speaking of Star Trek VI, we're going to be discussing that film heavily here with actor Jeremy Roberts in just a moment.
Well, the Star Trek universe has a couple more trophies to add to its case. At the Makeup Artist and Hairstylist Guild Awards on February 19th, Star Trek Discovery won the award for Best Special Makeup Effects, beating out American Horror Story's impeachment American Crime Story, The Witcher, and This Is Us. Discovery star Doug Jones also won the inaugural chair award, though he was a little bit modest about it. When presented with the award by Discovery co-star Sonequa Martin Green, Jones responded, "I feel a little bit guilty receiving an award for basically sitting in a chair while you guys did all of the work."
It's time for our special interview guest for whom you've waited so patiently. Jeremy Roberts will join us here on A Captain's Log on the other side of the break.
A Captain's Log returns in a moment.
Welcome back to A Captain's Log. You know, in our short history of 2 seasons, we've already been honored to have a long string of interview guests who have worked in a wide variety of areas in the Star Trek universe. Actors, stunt people, writers, artists.
Yes, Raj. Now, after a long string of TV roles beginning in 1987, Jeremy Roberts appeared in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, playing Lieutenant Commander Dimitri Valtane. And that was a role that he reprised in the Star Trek Voyager episode Flashback, Captain Sulu's ship. Remember that one?
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm. He also plays a Meso'Clan member who's in the Jem'Hadar in the Deep Space Nine episode Hippocratic Oath. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for a very prolific TV career that spanned more than 22 years for Jeremy Roberts. Joining us now is Jeremy Roberts. Welcome and thanks for being here with us on A Captain's Log, Jeremy.
You're welcome. Pleasure. I feel like you should do what every actor does is they have to learn one thing is the turn and deliver, you know?
Yeah.
How many in a starship have not done that? Everybody has to do it. So, yeah. Pleasure to be here.
Jeremy, though you and your mother moved from your native Alabama to Hollywood when you were only 2 years old, you didn't have your first screen acting credit until you were in your early 30s. When did you first consider pursuing a career in acting, and what finally got you to do it?
I had no interest in acting at 2 or any time after that. Didn't even occur to me. My mother always wake me up at night. She loved to take me out of the bed and 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, all the way up until I went to the Marine Corps, but and watch movies. There was $1 million movie. It's called, or The Late Show. The Late Show. It's time to sit back and watch The Late Show, and then popcorn. And I loved it. So I got to see all the 40s and 50s movies that she loved. John Wayne and Jerry Lewis. I mean, my idols, and Frank Gorshin, etc. So I didn't do a thing. I did a play once. I was in Our Town. I played one of the grave diggers, and I fell into the grave accidentally. It was terrible, humiliating. I just was never going to do this again. It was a class. But I was wrong. I did do it again. A friend of mine, a small 30-seat theater in Monrovia in L.A., she had lost her actor playing an Indian 7-Eleven owner. In my country, and I was like, she came to me and she said, "I know you can do it." And I said, it's wrong. I'm not even, there's no Indian here. But you do voices, and come on, it's only for a while. He broke his ankle, I think, or he's going to be in a cast. And I was thinking at the time, why don't you just put him behind a box or something? You're not going to see it. Anyway, so I decided to do it, scared to death, but there's only 30 people, if there were any, in that theater at all. And we were doing Laugh-In. It was like a stage production of Laugh-In. Mm-hmm. So the first joke I said, they laughed, and I went, "Oh, it's like, I imagine you found God," what it would have felt like. "Oh, I got to do this again." And then they kept laughing, and I went, "Well, let's give that a try." So, and I think at the time I had a job my dad was a chef at the country club, the Lakeside Country Club. It's down the block from the Smokehouse, which is across the street from Warner Brothers. So it has every star in the world going in there. And in the golf course, I worked on the 9th hole when I wasn't a lifeguard. The 9th hole had a little bar. So, I mean, when John Wayne came up and he wanted bourbon and branch water or Bing Crosby, name every star, I got to like gaga, I get to serve them a drink through this little window as they were teeing off in the 9th hole. I made them a drink. Yep.
Jeremy, after your screen acting career began, you worked heavily on TV before Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country became one of your first theatrical movies. How did you get that role as Lieutenant Dimitri Valtane? Tell us the whole process from the audition.
I had worked myself up, luckily. Usually you go and you read for the agent, the casting director, and if he thinks you're right, then you go to the next step, which is the producers. And there could be anywhere from 1 to 12 people there that are reading, not reading, but watching you. And it's down to like 4 or 5, because they only bring 4 people in, maybe 5 if they're not sure, to read for this part. I didn't have the script yet, but I had the sides, and it had Lieutenant Dimitri Valtane, later changed to Lieutenant Commander. And then after that, when I got to the Voyager episode, 5 years after that, it became science officers, where I found out. And of course, in my mind, being the fan I was from childhood, I watched that from the beginning. I became Spock to Sulu, yes. In my mind, whether I was or not, I was. Because that means there's only one other science officer, and that's Spock, and then there's me. My dream world, but yeah. Did I answer any of it? Yeah, but I went there, boom. Within a day, I read it. They told me by the time I got home, I try to forget the minute you do an audition. It's over, it's done, I'm on. Move on, it's over. But you something always makes you wonder, but I don't want to talk about it. So I get home and I'm always looking for that light. You used to have a light that would blink on your answering machine in the old days.
Yeah.
And if it was blinking, oh, it's my agent. Yeah, you got it. Oh, chills again. Gee, it doesn't end. 30 years.
Jeremy, had you been a Star Trek fan prior to being cast in the movie, or only after the movie?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was there. What is the date? It was shortly before my birthday in September. I was going to be 11, I think, or I was 11. Yeah. I'm just going to watch this. What other sci-fi did we have? Yeah, I've been a fan since the beginning. I didn't get into the Next Generation because they weren't hiring me. I'll show them. I missed out I read a couple of times, but I didn't. I never booked it.
I have an energy wave at 240 degrees Mark 6 port, sir. Visual. My God.
Don't tell me that was any meteor shower.
Negative, sir. Subspace shockwave originated at bearing 323 Mark 75. Location. It's Praxis, sir. It's a Klingon moon.
Send to Klingon High Command. This is Excelsior, a Federation starship.
Now, that was the last movie that starred the cast of the original TV series of Star Trek. What was it like working with them and being on Sulu's ship with Grace Lee Whitney and George Takei?
Ask yourself that question if it were you. How would you act? And how would you try to not act weird? How am I going to sit next to him? How am I going to hand him this device and do it? I'm talking to, and then he goes to your mind, everything he was ever in. I watched him on Twilight Zone in an episode, I remember. And I'm going to have to talk with him, and he's just a regular guy, but it doesn't matter. I'm chilling up the whole, this is my childhood, and I'm getting to talk to him. I mean, I know it's goofy, it's silly, and you're a 68-year-old man feeling this way, but you know, also, this is also in just my mind. You know, at the end of Star Trek VI, Sulu leaves Excelsior to go down to the planet where the rest of the original cast are, summing up the movie, I guess. It's at the very end, and they're all in that. And I had to, you know, tell people, now, when he went down there, he beamed down. Someone had to become the captain. I'm feeling it was me.
Yes.
So I actually got to be the captain of the Excelsior for one small moment in time that he left the ship. But is it in the Bible? No. Everybody saw him standing there. They're all standing there together.
Yes.
So how is the ship running without a commander? That's me.
Jeremy, I distinctly remember a line in Star Trek VI from you as Lieutenant Commander Dimitri Valtane. I'm saying it to the man himself, Jeremy Roberts. I cannot confirm the existence of praxis. I finally get to say it to you.
When you hear from fans that just, they know your line or your lines. I mean, in my mind, I had a couple lines, but it doesn't matter. You're part of this giant, magnificent story. I mean, no, don't tell anybody, but the Star Trek, the first one, it was terrible. But I loved it. I mean, the sets were just so terrible. I mean, but that's what I'm seeing now. Then I was totally immersed. Loved it.
Tactical status.
They have their 4 disruptors trained on us, sir.
You reprised your role as Lieutenant Dimitri Valtane 5 years later in an episode of Star Trek Voyager. What were your first thoughts asking to reprise your role, and what was that whole experience like?
As an actor, you were just aghast. I couldn't believe. You know, I'm talking to my agent. They said, "What? They wrote me a part?" Say it again. Star Trek writers wrote a part for me. I just wanted him to keep saying it because I could hear it, and I could not. Well, great. And I thought, well, my background is easy. I just go get Star Trek VI and watch it, see what I did. So that was about it. I just kept looking it over and over. If there was ever going to be a time where I was going to be repeating stuff, I wanted it to look almost the turn. I wanted it to look. No one's going to say anything about finding mishaps in it. It's come up enough times with people. Did you know you were going to die, but you still are alive on the deck in the Star Trek VI in the end? At the time, it never came up because it seemed like to me if I brought it up, they might cut it and change their mind and have another guy take over, somebody else, or write something else. I couldn't say, do you notice that I'm dead?
They've knocked out our targeting scanners.
Switch to manual.
Mr. Valtane, there's a rupture in the plasma conduit behind your console. Get away from that station.
One more second.
Dimitri, you must...
There was a line that nobody mentions, but I like it because I had to go back and look at Voyager because the question comes up every now and then about inconsistency in it. Am I dead? Anyway, there's a line in our barracks with, I forgot his name, Tuvok. Mm-hmm. And he's discussing something and I'm underneath. I think I say to him, you Vulcans got to learn to relax, which is something they could never do. But I just throw this line out and hey, that was funny. Oh, I said a funny line in Star Trek. You Vulcans got to learn to relax.
A captain's log returns in a moment.
Thanks for joining us on the Captain's Log. We're talking to Jeremy Roberts.
Under heavy makeup, you also appear in a 4th season episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine as a Meso'Clan playing a Jem'Hadar soldier. Tell us about that experience and how long the morning makeup must have taken, Jeremy.
Anywhere from 4 to 6 hours once they started getting it on. You're there at 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'd gotten kind of used to body makeup and prosthetics and, hiding me, which I liked. But the only story I ever have on that is it didn't end well because I was ill during the shooting of it. I had a flu or something, and I had to tell them because I had been throwing up the night before, and we'd already shot a few things. So I have looked at it trying, because I can watch that, because I'm, that face. You don't really see me acting. I can't find me in it, except I hear my voice once. So I'm thinking they got some things filmed. And then the day I got sick, they put me in it, but they arranged a quick release zipper in the back that could be, and so that I could, if I did. And I did. It was unfortunate. I got sick and had to let it out. They took it off, and I had a stunt double. He had to put it on every day and never get seen. They turned to him and said, "Do you have your SAG card?" And said they gave him a few of the lines. He read them, and "You are now Meso'Clan." So I think Meso'Clan is being done by two people in it, but I can't see where. I see him in one scene, but it's all convoluted to me now after 30 years, but that was the unfortunate. I still got my name in the front, the title credits, but I am in it, but you just don't know which one. I think it's because a lot of the actors there, they seemed to have something down here going on. They were doing, and I think there's a line I have in it. It's what's this? And that's my voice, because it's just me. I hear me saying but other than that, I'm trying hard to find out, because they're all pretty big. I could tell some of them that weren't me because they were shorter. I'm like 6'3" then. I'm only 6'1" now. Old age sort of shrinks, But yeah, it wasn't a bad thing. They were sad. Sorry. The guy next to me, I to this day, I'd like to know who he was, because I swear he made it. Everybody I work with has made it. I have a feeling that was what I was put on this earth to do, to be in shows so that everyone else could be famous. I'm kidding.
Jeremy, you were very busy as an actor for more than 20 years, with well over 150 IMDb credits from 1987 to 2009. When you've been recognized in public over the years, has it been over one of your Star Trek performances or other performances? Tell us a little bit more about this and what it's like to be recognized.
The Star Trek was the biggest, because as soon as Star Trek 6 happened, I remember going into a bar, and a group of guys saw me and just ran over there. "You got to come over and meet our friends." And they brought me over, and to the 4 or 5 of them there, and then one of them, they all kind of looked and went, and one of them said, "Dimitri Valtane," and he started doing, "You 380 degrees Mark Port, sir. We have I went, wow. How do you know? He knows every line in the whole movie. So it's not just you. It's fine.
In addition to Star Trek, you've performed in episodes of literally dozens of other TV series, some of which were among the most popular of their eras. Seinfeld, Knots Landing, Murder, She Wrote, Roseanne, CSI Miami, Touched by an Angel, and The X-Files, just to name a few. What are some of your favorite TV experiences aside from Star Trek?
Getting to do a Seinfeld, or even though Seinfeld, basically, you only see me in the rearview mirror. I'm the chauffeur, and when they take them to the Ku Klux Klan meeting or something, that they think they're stealing a chauffeur. But most of my lines are in that mirror, which I think is I can watch my acting then.
Yes, Seinfeld. I definitely remember that episode. Jeremy, you have an event that you're speaking at coming up here soon in Hollywood, Burbank, California, to be precise. Please tell us a little bit more about that, Jeremy.
That's at the Marriott in Burbank, yes. They're putting together reunion-ish thing. It's called Hollywood Show 2022. It's just a signing, Hollywood. Oh, and Louise Fletcher's going to be there. Nurse Ratched, Back to the Future. It's got Leah Thompson's there, and Christopher Lloyd, Christina Ricci. They're doing an Addams Family. Yes, April 15th and 16th. Yes, this in a month and a half.
Jeremy, you've been a delight. I know Bryan and I both enjoyed spending this half hour with you. Thank you for being on our show.
And Trekkies, thank you for being here this week. May all your trekking be enterprising from now until next week's show. Bye for now.
Hello, happy, my old friend. I'm glad you've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy. Ooh.